that the emergency occurs and things like that. I think we should discuss who should be the second person in case if they are out, because it's very important. I know that this presenter was really excited to come and present, and they do need that letter of support. And as somebody who is servicing the community within CB1, it's important for us to support that. Given the fact that we didn't meet quorum, it hurts my soul a little bit because this was something that was so important to know why they need that letter of support. So hopefully we can have a discussion of that, having a second person whenever the chairperson is not here, or if whenever we don't meet quorum, we should have a backup person for the executive meetings.
Christine, we know we can't come for a certain reason. Does the second person mean we can ask another board member to fill in for us?
I think that should be a discussion.
According
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry.
According to the way that the chairperson asked that we be a public member who would have to be the vice chair of the board, and the bylaws and committees reviewing the issues around attendance and what are used as an excuse for announcement. So to answer your question, no, you cannot ask the person that you're to jump in your seat that should be assigned to the committee. But a member of the vice chair of this board of this committee will definitely be a public member, and that recommendation will come from the chair once the committee chair has made their recommendation. So, and I'm going to elaborate more on building with the chairs of myself. We're going to pick very strict to committee assignment attendance and processes of what happens when there are a number of absences that are quote unquote deemed unexcused, and how and our bylaws committee is working on what that process would be. Right now, it is after the committee chair sees that someone has been absent, unexcused from the committee multiple times, that person is referred to the committee on ethics, discipline, and conflict resolution to determine why. And et cetera. So we need to, be understood that if you're a board member, especially that we follow very close to what the borough president's office has stipulated in the rules of what it takes to be a board member and the commitment to committees, because a lot of the work that happens of the board happens in committees. It's like the chair talked about, where this person was needed to be recognized so that they can likely competitively apply for this grant. And it all takes you guys doing your work and asking the important question we asked today. But again, that will be as we get more into the weeds of the bylaws committee, we'll understand more strategically, more about what the process is for us calling in or emailing about excuse absences and what those numbers of absences, etc. I over-explained it, but I hope
yes, thank
clear,
you.
right?
Yes,
That makes sense.
Yes.
That makes sense.
But and then the chair also wanted to reiterate how we operate as a committee, the rules about decorum and following the Robert rules in order to ensuring that we that folks are going to do that. And so and then coming at this board meeting, the general board meeting, everyone will receive a cheat sheet, quote unquote, of the Robert Rules of Order, so that you know how to operate or using the Robert Rules of Order.
I think that's important. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We're going to talk about old business. There's no old business. And we're kind of pretty much adjourned, right?
So actionable items.
Okay.
So each committee must, under you guys are Health and Human Services, you have, for those who should have already received the committee description, the chairperson Aliato would like for committees that have actionable items. What does that mean? What are issues that you see as a board member that is around the subject of health and human services and community within one's boundaries, and how do you envision this committee working on those issues, and whether it's in a progressive sense, if it is in a more strategic sense, and so on. So what are primarily our health issues or concerns, great things that are happening, how we build on that, how we attack that, how we bring attention to that. For example, the Municipal Services Committee recognized that for a long period of time, for at least 5 years, we have been without our recreational center in Community Board One, State Community Recreation Center has been closed. It may be connected to the how procurement rules allow the delays like to happen like this so often in our parks and open spaces. This also may be connected to issues around community-based violence where our young people do not have a place to swim, our seniors don't have a place to act recreationally, our seniors don't have a place to swim, so we have regular exercise routine. And so we are calling the commissioner of the borough commissioner of Parks and Recreation to attend the general board meeting to answer specific questions as relate to that concern. Also, the use of, we see hypothermic needles that are around our parks and our public spaces. And so we're calling on the Department of Health, working with this community board to actively find ways to help ensure that our parks and spaces are clean and that we're regularly enforcing rules of people who may be allegedly using a controlled substance in that way in our public parks and open space, et cetera, et cetera. And there should be some general discussion for this committee about what are health and human services thoughts, concerns, or things that are happening in our district or our city agencies are not addressing to, and how are we going to bring this issue to the forefront to the board to be. So that is the charge of the chair. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So,
What are those? So anyone had action items?
any action items, anyone wants to discuss anything in regards to the community or hopefully services?
I'd like to proceed with it. So I really love this idea of us coming up with action items that we feel are important for us to follow. The action items are the things that District Manager Anthony just described, right? That, what would we like to see? What are the issues? Do we submit them to you for consideration, or if we want to
It's up
just?
to the chair.
Yeah.
Say
You
for the
could-
record or
You could say it now for the record, or you could submit it forward. I think that would be an amazing idea moving forward. For when we do have the meetings, I know there's moments where Steven's asking me if I have anything on the agenda, but I don't at the moment, and I would appreciate, my fellow colleagues to, provide input in regards to, the action items. I like to observe and I like to listen throughout the community, so I don't have any questions or anything yet. It's a learning process for me. This is my second time doing it, so I would appreciate for anyone who has questions or want to discuss anything on the action item but you're more than welcome. The floor is yours to ask.
Thank you. I would like to put forward that one of the action items is what we heard today. It's really about mental health, but for youth. So really looking at, now that we are having like parks taken away or being shut down for long periods of time. And since COVID, there is this real struggle in communities right now of social isolation for kids too, not just our elders, but really, if we can look at what could we bring? Like Urban Health Plan has a new arts desk starting where they're trying to put forth social prescribing, where you're actually prescribed to go to museums, to art shows, to dance, to theater, to community spaces, and your insurance covers it.
Yeah.
But really looking at how can we look at some of the things that we can have input. So I don't know if we can invite, as part of action items, are we allowed to invite maybe a speaker to come and talk to us about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that
Yeah.
permitted?
Those requests comes to the chair, to
So I would
the
say-
friends. Be happy to have folks or agencies present to publicly talk about the issue that you talked about. I didn't know that arts could be used in such a way as to would love to learn more about that. I think that definitely is a way to help folks be able to compensate for anxiety and other ways of doing that. So we make that be the option. So yes. And we can ask some education. Are there other actionable items?
No.
So, you had mentioned kind of the park cleanup piece of it, but I'm curious about the Department of Sanitation's, like how often they're cleaning this area around the hub. Like, what is their routine schedule for that? Because some days you walk through and it's pretty clean, and then some days you walk through and it's littered with everything
Everything.
under the sun. And if there's a way to combine whatever the Department of Sanitation is doing with the outreach workers, people who are doing substance abuse outreach specifically, because again, when you're walking through the hub, it's like you can see why there's stuff everywhere because there are people kind of hanging out. And so I don't know if there's a way to coordinate those efforts or to get both of those entities. And I don't know who's doing the majority of the outreach here. I know that BNS, who we signed a letter of support for, in the fall was starting expanding their services to include substance abuse treatment because they were already doing mental health treatment, but I don't know if they're doing outreach. So I guess it would be great to know for us to find out who does the outreach in this area to support people that way. And if there's a way for the Department of Sanitation and for them to kind of do a 1-2 punch or at least be able to alternate their services on a regular basis.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
So, funny enough, a representative from VNS actually signed up to be a public member. So she's just not here today because I believe she mentioned that she had a family emergency or whatnot, but she'll be here next month. So her name is Joanne H.
I remember her.
Yeah, so she actually signed up to be a public member for this committee. So, we can follow up with her next month or, when she comes back. I think she's back on the 28th. We can follow up on that angle with VNS.
And to build more on what another thing that you talked about, is that we met, the staff met with Deputy Chief for the Department of Transportation, specifically to
Transportation
talk
or
about
sanitation?
Sanitation. Brains clicking back and forth. So many agencies, but thank you for making it. So sanitation to specifically talk about the concerns relating to the cleanup. I mean, it is definitely does leaves an eyesore in parts of our district when we look at places that could be more cleaner, especially with places like in our shopping district, like the 3rd Avenue area leading up to our offices. We met exclusively with the 3rd Avenue bid now has a new executive director. He's working to show his staff specifically around sanitation and security. But going back to the sanitation piece, with their Deputy Chief of the Department of Sanitation for this particular area in the Bronx will be attending our community board meetings and providing detailed information as relates to similar to CompStat, that because we spoke about the possibility of activating the map that our Committee on Environmental Justice and Sanitation wants to add to a website that's going to be able to highlight where there are likely sanitation or environmental injustice issues that could be easily snapped, loaded up into our app, shows immediately where these spots are in our district, and it charges the agency to be able to see how fast they'll be able to work to alleviate it. And specifically talking about what is their routine, when do we pick up trash, when do we sweep the streets, when are the street sweepers are happening, et cetera, so that we can understand, because it does give to the quality of life of where you're at. If you walk out, you see trash everywhere, you see overfilling garbage containers, et cetera, et cetera. So I appreciate that you bring that as an action item around health, because it's saying that a clean community does contribute to how you feel about yourself, how you feel about the people live, and also around a bunch of other things. So it'd be great if we could also formulate some questions specifically around that for the 26th, but also inviting him to talk passionately directly to this committee is something that we can definitely put together. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. I don't want to interrupt, but if there's another train of thought of other items. For the public.
Public, any questions or?
This is your community, if I may, Madam Chair, this is your community board. If you live or work in this district, this is our community board, and our meetings are open to you to be able to come in and see the people working on your behalf. And this is called, nicknamed the People's House. So please feel free to be able to come by and talk about anywhere from resources and services. We have Wednesdays, we have a great colleague that comes to Bronx Work, who comes to talk about anyone who may have needed assistance with SNAP, which is the food stamp program, or with assistance with rental arrears, and along with other programs and services, and she's here from 9 to 5. Also, so if you know someone who needs help with that, please feel free to refer them. I thank the chair for her time.
Or even if you guys have any ideas of adding some of your staff or a colleague of yours at this site, at this office, that would also help us as well to reach out to the community. We're trying to get other local organizations to be stationed here to provide additional services as well, which is why I was very interested in hearing out, the presenter present his program that they have, services that they offered. So yeah. Yes.
Is it to actually have a desk here and work out of the office? Like a workstation?
Mhm.
Okay.
So yeah, she's here on Wednesdays. Tomorrow she'll be here from 9 to 5. Her name is Precious Quick and she works for.
She presented, right, the last
Yes.
meeting?
Mhm.
She's wonderful,
So
Precious.
she's
And
here.
Miss Quick.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you're looking for others to also take a desk?
If there are other organizations that meet
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
needs
the
of the community board to provide these services to the community, you can submit those requests to the appropriate committee or submit those requests to the chair and executive committee for.
So Precious Quick is actually my staff. So
Oh, she's great.
yeah, so I do have other colleagues from different departments who I am gonna meet with to see if they can be able to provide services via Bronxworks and other networks that we may have to provide services here. And
Wonderful.
hopefully in the future, she might station here just more than one day, but we're just doing the trial and error to just have her once a week so that she can get familiar with the community and the community can get familiar with the office and knowing that we're here for the people.
That's wonderful. That's great.
Anything else? No? Yes.
I just have a question regarding how do you share information? I know you guys have an email, so do you actively send out emails to other organizations or so I wanted to have like updates or something like that. We added so if you wanted information, we add your email to the database and then we just send out mass mailings via
Yeah.
email. We're just revamping our database, but soon it'll be more conducive and just streamlined. So any little thing that comes our way will be sent out. So,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a sign-in sheet here, so towards the
Yeah,
end you can
give
sign.
sign in for those. Yeah.
Please, for those guests who haven't signed in yet.
Yeah. Give us your email. Anything else? Yeah, motion to adjourn. Second. Discussion? Any, no? Okay. Oh, motion. This was a good one. Thank you. This was good.